Hello and welcome to this tutorial on Cubasis. This time I would like to show you the brand new feature that we've integrated into Cubasis. It's called MiniSampler. If you want to follow along, I'm using the new project called Snare by Alan Morgan, which is also part of this Cubasis release. And our task for today is going to be to create a small remix of this song using the MiniSampler. To get started, let's listen to the original song. Okay, that should be enough for a first impression. The first thing I would like to show you regarding the MiniSampler is of course how to actually access it. And it's already part of this project. So let's have a look at the project. If you also have it open on your iPad, select the Piano S90 track. It is an instrument track which already contains MIDI notes. Let me solo this track. And then if you have a look on the left-hand side and tap on Grand S90, you can then access the instrument by tapping on the grand piano. And this is what the MiniSampler looks like. Now let's press play and listen to the original sound. But what if you want to change that sound? And of course we have already bundled some instruments with the MiniSampler that you can use. So if you tap on Instruments, you will see a list of available instruments for the MiniSampler. And let me just switch through the available pianos so you get an idea what they sound like. Now, as I already mentioned, our task is to create our own small remix of that song. And by doing that, I will also show you how you can create your own instruments using the MiniSampler. So let's get started. Let me close the MiniSampler for now. Now I would like to show you a section of the song that I want to use for this tutorial. It starts at bar 69 and we're going to use 4 bars of the song. Let me quickly remove the tracks that we're not going to need so you can see better which tracks I'm actually talking about. We're going to use the bass track and we're using a track called E-Guitar Fills. From the entire bass track recording, I'm just going to use bar 9 through 13. And for the guitar, I've chosen a section starting at bar 69, and again, it's going to be 4 bars. So again, I'm going to trim it to just the section so you can see easily what I'm talking about. Now we are left with just those 2 parts of the instruments. Now let's have a look at the bass part. Let's listen to it so you actually know what the bass is playing in this part. Now there are some insert effects already on this track, mainly Studio EQ and a compressor. And for this example, I'm going to leave them actually as insert effects on the track. And then I will tap on Freeze. So now I have this part as an audio file. You can also see it here. And let me quickly rename it to snare bass. Let's call it intro sample 1. Hit OK. And you can see that the media base automatically opened, and under audio files you can find this audio file now with the name we've just given. And for the e-guitar, you can also see we have insert effects. It's up to you whether you want to keep them in the track or not. I'm also gonna hit freeze, so we have it as an audio file now, and also rename it so it's easier to find for us. And of course, again, because the song is called Snare, I'm gonna call it Snare e-guitar sample 1. And as you can see, it's also listed in the media bay now. Now we're ready to actually make our own first sample-based instrument. And we're gonna start with the bass sampler. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tap on Add a MIDI track. Right now it has the acoustic piano selected. Tap on the grand piano again, tap on Instruments, and then scroll down until you see MiniSampler. And just underneath MiniSampler, it says New Instrument. So tap on New Instrument, and let's give it a name. Let's call it Snare Sampled Bass number 1. Hit OK. Let's close the instrument list. You already know this view of the MiniSampler, but now we're going to tap on the big E button on the top of the MiniSampler, and this will give us the editor. Now there are two main views. One is called Edit, the other one is called Record. So you can also record from any source onto a key here in the MiniSampler. So if you have something, for example, like a UR242 connected to your iPad, you could also record, for example, from a microphone, a guitar, a bass, anything you have available. But this time I'm going to show you how to actually use the audio files we have in the media bay. We already saved some files, so let's have a look at my audio files, and that's where we have our samples. I'm going to hit the play button right next to Snare Bass Intro Sample 1. What the bass is actually playing in this part of the song is a G sharp, a B, an F sharp, and a C sharp. Now to make our own bass sampler, we actually don't need all the notes that the bass is playing. So to keep it simple, I'm going to only use the F sharp and the B. And to add the audio file to a key on the keyboard, simply tap and hold and drag and drop it onto the note that you want it to be. Now it's an F sharp 1, and I'm going to use the same sample and put it onto the B one. Now you can go ahead and close the media bay, use a little X icon on the right hand side, and if you tap on one of the keys, you can hear that of course right now we have the same sample on both keys, but we're going to change that. I will start with the F sharp 1. So select it. And as I already mentioned, the bass is playing G sharp, B, F sharp, and C sharp. So F sharp is the third pitch that we hear. So now let's make sure that we select the third pitch. It should be this region. Sounds about all right. Don't worry about that, we still have some clicking noise. So what I'm going to do now is switch over to Edit and select Trim. And I'm going to do the same for the B1 pitch. The B would be the second pitch that we hear. So maybe somewhere around here. Let's make a selection, and you can also zoom in so you can see it a little bit better. Let's listen to it. Now select Trim again. As you can hear, we have a clicking noise. So let's quickly fix that. What I'm going to do is select just a very small portion at the beginning of the sound and apply a fade in. Maybe something like this. Now we have two options for the end of the sample. We can either use a fade out or we can use loop. Simply tap on the right hand side on the loop icon, and loop means that it will loop in between those two markers, start and end. Great, now we have a sustained note. Let's go over to B1 and enable loop and listen to it. I think it needs some adjustments. If you tap and hold the S, you can move the start point and you can move the end too. If you hold the loop icon at the top, you can move the entire loop range. And you can also adjust the crossfade for start and end of the loop. Okay. Right now we only have two notes covered by the sample. And you might want to play a few more notes using this bass sample. And the MiniSampler makes that fairly easy. So what I can do is drag. If you tap on the F#1, where it says F#1, and tap and drag, you can actually increase the range this sample will be used for. If you tap and hold, it will turn green. You can also move the root note. So let's extend it further down to D1. And for the B1, extend it to A1 and D#2. So we made our own playable sample-based bass. Okay, let me close the MiniSampler. And we're going to do the same for the e-guitar. But to save a little bit of time, I'm going to jump ahead and load the MiniSampler instrument e-guitar that I've already prepared using the sample that we took at the beginning of this tutorial. Of course, I'm still going to show you what it looks like. So again, I imported the audio file from the media bay, Snare e-guitar sample 1, this time onto 3 different pitches, G sharp, A sharp, and F. Let me close the media bay. Again, G sharp, A sharp, and F. And again, I trimmed down the sample, selected the correct pitches, and extended the range the samples would be played. Great, now we also have an e-guitar that we can play, for example, using the keyboard. Let me close it. And I'm also going to clean up the project a little bit because we don't need all those audio tracks anymore. So now we have just one track with the bass sampler we created and one with the e-guitar we created. I'm also going to change the tempo, make it faster, maybe like this. And finally, it's time to record something using our homemade instrument. Now let me close the keyboard again, and this is what we just recorded. Now let's do the same thing for the guitar. Open up the keys again, hit record, and we're good to go. Good. Now I would like to add some drums, so I'll add another MIDI track and go to the instruments, go to our MiniSampler, and I would like to show you that we have also included new drum kits you can play. I will select the Allen Morgan Willow Crest kit. It's a great drum kit by Allen Morgan. You can of course play it with the pads. But I would like to show you that we also have included loops, MIDI loops in the media bay. So if you select MIDI in the media bay and go to Allen Morgan Signature Drums, and let me scroll down until we are at the Willow Crest kit. You now have the choice of 128 MIDI loops or drum patterns to choose from, and I would like to use Willow Crest Kit Allen Morgan Chorus B. It has a nice groove to it. I will simply double tap it and it will be placed onto my drum track. Let me quickly clean it up a little bit, remove the part that we don't need. And I'm gonna jump ahead just a little bit to show you that I added some effects to the tracks and also added a few more tracks to complete our little remix. Let me explain what I did. For the drums, I used some insert effects. Let me quickly turn them off so you can hear the original sound. I added some bit reduction, which is part of the effects pack you can purchase separately. I mixed this effect with the original sound, and I also added a compressor just to tighten up the drum kit a little bit. Let's have a look at the next track. I added another drum kit, and what I did, I took a loop from the media bay, a drum loop, and split it up and put it onto different notes. But the workflow was generally the same as we just saw, for example, for the bass. And I played just a few notes to add a little excitement to the drums. The next track is actually the only track in the project right now which is not based on the MiniSampler. I just added the microlog just for the fun of it, to play a basic line. I added some effects, did some EQing to get it out of the way of the bass, and added a compressor to tighten it up. Track 4 contains our bass sampler, you already know. What I did a bit of EQing and also some compression and an enhancer which works just around 4 kHz just to make the bass cut better through the mix. Track number 5, last but not least, is our e-guitar sampler. What I did on this track is applied the studio EQ mainly at the high frequency range, and I also added a delay which is part of the FX Pack 1. Now we've done it, let's actually listen to the result. Let's listen to all the tracks together. Okay, thanks a lot for watching and listening. I hope you had fun using the MiniSampler in Cubasis. No matter which musical style you're into, I'm sure you'll put it to good use. Enjoy using Cubasis, have fun making music, and until next time, bye bye.